What's going on, guys? It's Lily 216. This is part 2 of what's going on about PES 2013 and what's new for PES 2014. If you haven't seen part 1's in the description, and that's to do with gameplay issues. Part 2 is to do with game mode issues and also what I've heard about PES 2014 so far and how I'd like to see them things put into it so it's not just a gimmick. But I'll talk about that after. So let's start with Master League Online, because that's a huge mode that a lot of people play right now. And I'll start off with what I like about it, and I'll talk about my favourite thing so far because it's indirect comparison with FIFA in this part, and so why I like it is how you see here there's Rooney, Messi and Michel Bastos and Krasic for this example. These lot would all be gold players in FIFA, but in FIFA all you need for a gold player is a gold card to maintain them, so there's no individual like uniqueness to keep them. So Ronaldo would probably cost, wait, let me just say that a gold card would cost like say 500 coins, so to keep Ronaldo in FIFA would probably cost 500 coins, and it's no different than keeping Michel Bastos, where in PES to keep Krasic would be 2.7 million for 10 matches, Michel Bastos for 1.4 million, Messi would cost 7 million and Rooney would cost 3.96. so in this game they have that level of top players, and then there's your top players but the lower bracket, and then you got your top players like Messi who are the absolute high end and they cost a lot more. So there's that uniqueness, and to keep a top team it costs a lot of success, where in FIFA all it costs is 500 gold coins, and it costs the same to keep, I'm guessing, Krasic and Cristiano Ronaldo in that game, where the reality is that keeping Ronaldo in your squad will cost more, and PES does a good job of actually reflecting this on an individual level throughout all the thousands of players they got. Now I can't believe I'm going to say this, and I know I'm not just speaking for myself, I'm probably speaking for about 99% of people that play Master League Online. And how can I say this nicely? Just think of it like this: Konami, you cannot have a fake player that is this heavily wanted and so overpowered that people have Messi, Ronaldo, like your Walcotts, even people that want just pace will buy this guy and have him in that same squad. Because if you got a fake player in like one of the best squads in your game, then you know something's not right about the game. Just look, nearly 25,000 people have got this player, and I'm guaranteeing you at least 15,000 of them will have someone like Wayne Rooney in there, and Messi or someone other top world class players, and then in that same squad you got a fake player that is actually going to be starting. He's not just there to make the numbers up. I understand having fake players just to meet the minimum requirement of 16 because you find it hard to afford 16 top players. But when you've got someone like Van der Merch, who is actually being used just as much as someone like Wayne Rooney, then you've got a problem. And the thing is, you should not have a player that's so OP. Look at his stats. His stats actually aren't that OP. Look, alright, he's stupidly quick for a fake player. And the worst thing is he's actually built like a strong player. So he's tall, he's little wide, and he can just bully people off the ball. And because he's so quick, if you can't catch him, even sometimes when you do catch him, he can still just push you off so easily, and that should not be an issue. And if it is, Konami have not learned from their mistakes. The reality is, as a centre forward, I know what Van der Merch costs. How much does he cost? He cost 1.8 million. But that 1.8 million pound striker should only get you past like certain crap teams, and you should be wanting to save for someone like Wayne Rooney, or even if you go for this Morales guy. Look at him. Them stats say he's technically better than the other guy, so you should actually want to save it for the more technically gifted players. But by enabling the stupid through ball glitch over the top, you're just asking people just stick with this guy and just cheat I call it cheat because it's just you're glitching the defenders out. I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but we should feel like a big advantage of having an actual professional footballer who's actually look, they're not slow, Ardo Toran and Jesus Navas, and they're far more technically gifted than Van der Merch. And between them, look, they've got 700 users, so 700 people find them effective, and there's 25,000 people, just say close to 25,000 people that find Van der Merch effective. And we should never ever be picking a fake footballer over professional footballers, and that's where Konami's big problem lies. So they need to make sure that doesn't happen in the next one. They should make fake players only effective up to really crap defenders, and that's about it. Once you come up against a good defender, you think Van der Merch, you should be off the pitch. Simple as that, Konami. You need to make sure you get that sorted. Now, before I move on to the Master League Offline and become a legend, there's already something that I've already heard which sounds really interesting, and that's that they want to make the home matches and away matches feel different. So they want to have the crowd play a big part of it. So if you're the home team, the crowd can spur you on, and if you're the away team, obviously the crowd can really put you down. So if you've got weak mentality players in there, passes can be overhit or easily underhit, and probably go astray. And same with the shooting. So as soon as they said that, I had a big idea in my head. I'd say have like 3 levels or 5 levels of like if you're the home team, if you've got really good support, like Anfield's meant to be like a brilliant place for support. So there'd be a level 3 for any player that joins there, and their boost would go higher. Now say you were Reading, I'm not saying they don't have great supporters, but just for example, just say they were level 1 and you start playing for Reading, your players' stats or morale wouldn't go as high as a boost as it would playing for Anfield. And then same goes for the away team. Just for example, an intimidating place to go, just say Stoke, say they're level 2, so when as in intimidating place, so they're level 2 of intimidation. So say you go there, your players that got a weak mentality will have like a certain level of nervousness and play only 10% of their passes astray. But then they go to Galatasaray, and that's like the most hostile environment you could probably go to as a professional footballer, and that's level 3, just say, and your weak mentality players there could be playing 30% of their passes astray. And when you mix and match those support levels and intimidation levels, you can get a more unique and authentic feel to each stadium, because they've already said that fans will react to key moments in the game, such as goals, penalties, even hard-hitting tackles, and there's more things that we don't know about yet. But you want to easily tell the difference of playing at Wigan's ground and Galatasaray's ground as an away team. And with the different levels of intimidation and support, you could easily translate that into the crowd by just making the booing louder and the cheering louder, more intense. And at the higher levels, have I won't say different noise, but like more whistling going on, so you can tell it's a hostile environment. And by the way, the goal you're seeing now by Atletico Madrid, I've put it in twice because it's one of my favourites for different reasons. This was a match where I was playing really bad, and because it's on manual, it's a lot harder to do as well, manual passing. But this match I was playing really bad, and I thought I need to up my tempo, and when I did, suddenly a moment of quality came out of nowhere. So that's why this one's probably my favourite of all times, and this is probably one of my favourite types of goals anyway, where the other guys just chasing shadows. But before I go on to other moments, I'll actually say that playing this game in manual almost feels like playing a different game. Like every match feels, not every match, every passage of play feels almost different. And you're going to see me play this long pass with Scholes out wide to Nani, and when you do that on assisted passing, it almost feels like any other normal short pass. But when you do it on manual passing, it almost felt as good as a goal to me. I remember when I scored it, I was like, I stood up and I clapped, and I was like, take a bar, Paul Scholes. And you realise, Van Persie is the one who scores it, but that pass was that good, it felt like a goal, just that pass alone. But yeah, if you haven't played on manual passing, I'd suggest at least give it a try. If you find it hard to get the hang of it, play against the computer, lower the difficulty if you have to, and then try it against another person. And when you normally find that it's a lot easier against another person, but try it against the computer just to get the hang of it first. Now before I say the last 2 things about the engine, there's one more thing I want to say, and that's for anyone that's played Become a Legend. You know how much of a ball ache it becomes playing that, because you could score a hat-trick one game and then you'll get a drop for the next 2-3 games, and the worst thing is you don't actually get an explanation why you dropped, and you can't work your way into the team, because you could play your training matches, you could be the best player there, man the match, everything, and it takes ages to break your way into that first team. And I just think that's way too long. It doesn't feel like it's performance related, it feels like it's time related, which obviously is not a good thing at all. It's probably a mix of it, but it feels more time related than anything. So they need to rework that Become a Legend system. And what I'd also like to have is more interaction with the manager, so you can build that relationship with your manager. If it's a good one, then he's less likely to drop you after a bad run of games. If it's a bad one, then he'll drop you quicker than you can think. And if it gets really bad, he can transfer list you. How you can actually get a good and bad relationship. So if you're asking for game time without going to training, and there's something I'll talk about training after, and you're not putting in the training time, and you keep asking for game time without even deserving of it, then it can turn into a bad relationship. And if when he does give you game time and you appreciate it, and you go up to him and say, oh thank you, I appreciate it, all them little bits of training as well that I was saying, if you keep turning up to training, it could turn into a good relationship. But the training part is a really good idea, and I've got the idea from Fight Night and UFC, so I don't know how many of you guys have played this, but when you do the career mode, if you want to build up on your speed in the game, what you'll do is you'll actually do an activity, and depending how good of a job you do on that activity, that's how much your speed will go up by each little week. So in Pro Evo, you just say you go dribbling through cones for dribble accuracy, and depending how good of a job you do it, your growth will go up by just a little bit each time. And you know, that's a good way, because then it actually relies on our skill as well, not just, you know, time being the only factor. So that's a, like, you know, interesting thought for Become a Legend. Oh, and before I forget, they've got to make online for Become a Legend players 10v10 at least. I don't care about the goalkeepers, but you've got to have at least 10v10 by now. Now, I'm going to finish off the video now by saying two things that sound really interesting to me with the new engine. And that's, they've said, these are two minor things, but like, you know, the shirt is now separate from the body of the player, so you can do like shirt tugging and it'll have a big effect. And it might not just be when he's on the ball, I think it's like when he's actually running to the ball from a distance, so you can like be shirt pulling then as well. And another thing I like is how you can throw body feints before the ball actually arrives at your feet, so you can probably trick players before the ball even comes to your feet, which is another really interesting idea. So, you know, with what I've just said with Become a Legend, I think Konami should employ me for them sort of ideas. But you know, I hope you guys found this interesting, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, remember to give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, remember to subscribe, and thanks for watching, guys.